Am I the asshole for not giving younger sister more inheritance? I 46F recently lost both of my parents in quite quick succession. They both died peacefully of natural causes, old age. I have an older brother 47 and a younger sister 32. Yes, I was 14 when my sister was born. She was a menopause baby. In fact, my mother thought that most of her early pregnancy was symptoms of the menopause. We were all excited to have a new baby though, especially me as I was the youngest of all the cousins and none of my friends had young siblings when we were growing up. My parents were always very fair with all of us when it came to money and time spent with us. They encouraged our hobbies and liked to spend time with us. Our dad died first and everything went to our mum. When she died, everything was split between the three of us apart from things that were stated, such as a set of golf clubs going to my brother and jewelry left specifically to my sister or to me. We decided to sell our parents' house and split the proceeds equally as none of us wanted to live in it. Last week, my brother and I received an email from our sister. She believes that she should be given more inheritance money or the entire proceeds of the house sale. Her reasoning for this is that as she is so much younger than my brother and I, she got to spend less time with my parents whilst they were alive than we did. Somehow she reasons that this is fair. My brother and I think this is absolute nonsense. Our parents were clear on splitting things equally. We both left home when we turned 18 to go to university and were lucky that we didn't need to return home for a while to save money or anything like that. My sister lived with our parents until she was 25. My brother and I have agreed we are not giving our sister any more of our share of the inheritance, which isn't much anyway, and the proceeds of the house will be split 3 ways as specified in both of our parents' wills. She has said we are selfish and she is owed this because she didn't have as much time with our parents. I don't feel like I am in the wrong here, but a few of my friends have suggested I make a token payment to keep her happy. I don't think she would be unless it was a significant portion of my inheritance or my share of the house sale. Am I an arsehole for not wanting to give my sister more money just because she is younger than me? Edit. Thank you very much to all for your condolences. Becoming an orphan is very hard at any age, it seems. I am thinking that I will speak to my brother about talking to our sister about getting some sort of grief counseling and offer to go with her. It might be a way of finding out if there are any other issues that we don't know about as outwardly. She is a successful professional. If there is something wrong, then we will offer our support. I love my sister very much and I don't want to end up estranged over this, especially during a time of grief.
Not the asshole. I'm sorry for your loss. Your sister's logic is stupid. You could also argue the reverse, since you knew them better since you were older. You and your brother deserve more. Also, you're following your parents' wishes in their wills. Please don't give her money that sets a bad precedent for the future. She might want more if you give her a little. You can't use reason with an irrational person.
Not the asshole. Do not give your entitled sister 1 penny more than the 1/3 share your mother allotted her in her will. Your sister's reasoning is flawed and this is just a naked cash grab on her part.
Not the asshole. Your parents were clear where their money was to go when they passed. Sorry for your guys' losses.
Not the asshole. Money brings out the ugly in people. Tell her you are respecting your parents' wishes and leave it at that. If you're going to split the home 3 ways like your parents want, then do that. Giving her money only shows that she's probably financially irresponsible and is looking for more dollar. If you do decide to give her more, just know you're only enabling her. I'm sorry for your loss. Not the asshole. You and your brother have a right to keep what you were given. IDK your sister, so I can't say for sure, but to me it sounds like she is focusing on the money to avoid being upset about the loss. So sorry to you and your family that you lost your parents and are now going through this. Condolences.
Not the asshole. She's trying to get free money, it's as simple as that. Don't enable her with a token payment. Also, I'm sorry for your loss.
Not the asshole. Your sister is just grieving and wants to feel special. Just point out to her that she spent much more time with them than you or brother did since she lived at home till 25. Then point out that maybe she owes you guys money instead. Not the asshole. You sister is a selfish butthole. Money can hardly be the answer to missing your parents.
As the youngest whose closest sibling is 16 years older, I get where she's coming from. My mom died when I was 25 and my dad when I was 29. I took their deaths much harder because I was so much younger. My guess is this is a lot of grief on her part, so I'd cut her some slack. Being understanding though does not mean giving her more than her share. Nah. ETA, the lack of compassion in these comments is disturbing. They all lost their parents. Have some sympathy. ETA 2, thanks so much for the award.
Not the asshole, obviously. She may be grieving but honestly she's pushing it here. She isn't deserving of any more than her equal share.
Not the asshole, you're doing as your parents wished. Assumption, but maybe your sister has fallen into some financial problems if this type of behavior is out of character. I couldn't imagine being upset about inheritance unless my family was rich and treated me like trash growing up only to leave me nothing. Not the asshole at all. Time spent with someone does not impact on inheritance for kids unless specified in the will, and if she wants to go down such a silly train of thought, then you and your brother could turn around and say you deserve more because you spent more time with your parents, which means your pain is larger and therefore should be compensated as such. Splitting it evenly was fair and the right thing to do. You see so many different sides to people in situations like this. I'm not sure if it is their greed and true colors coming out or greed mixed with grief.
Token payment equals $1. Take it or leave it.
Not the asshole. Someone needs to tell her they isn't how it works. Death really does bring out the worst in people.
Not the asshole. First, I am sorry that you've lost both your parents, truly hope they're in a better place. Second, don't let your sister guilt you into any of this, your parents were specific with what needs to be done with regard to their house, don't change it. Third, sure, you can give her a token payment now to keep her happy, but what's stopping her from doing this again in the future? Nothing.
Not the asshole. I could see this argument maybe if she was like 18, but not at 32. She also got to spend ages 4 to 25 with them one-on-one like she was an only child. Losing both your parents like this just sucks, but it sucks for all three of you and money isn't going to fill that hole.
You're not the asshole, but you will be if you give in. Your parents were specific in their wishes. Honor that. If spoiled younger sister wants to, she can use her portion of the house sale to contest the will. That's her option, and her prerogative. Actually, is your sister normally like that? Or is her behavior shocking? I'm not sure whether she is acting out because she can't deal with loss.
Not the asshole, the only one who is selfish here is your sister. You are just living up to the will which your parents probably decided on, so there wouldn't be any discussion. Sorry for your loss.
Not the asshole. If the amount of time mattered, you could apply the same logic backwards. I knew our parents for longer, therefore my grief is more. You are respecting your parents' very clear wishes. She has said we are selfish and she is owed this because she didn't have as much time with our parents. Go talk to death. Also, how will money help? You can't change the past. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I don't see how not having as much time with them translates into a monetary amount. She's just greedy.
Not the asshole, the estate gets divided per your mother's wishes. Your sister's email doesn't even warrant a response. Both you and your brother would be entirely justified in not engaging on the subject any further. Not the asshole. What bizarre reasoning. Money won't give her more time with your parents. You and your brother had no influence on anyone's date of birth. You did not somehow short her time or money from your parents. If one feels charitable, maybe it's the grief talking. Personally, I think she's just being greedy and using a deranged argument to try to sound somehow reasonable. It's not your job to keep your sister happy. You don't owe her for your parents' choices. Your parents were fair with the inheritance, and if she's got a problem with the time split, she can take it up with God or a ghost, but that also isn't something you can fix for her or should take ownership of in any way. I'm so sorry for your losses.
Not the asshole. Sorry for your losses. But they were clear in their wishes, evenly split is fair, they loved you all so you all get your share. Her reasoning doesn't make any sense. Don't give her a token gesture as one of your friends suggested, give her an inch, she'll take a mile. Tell her that you're following your parents' wishes as per the will exactly. That's why people have a will, so the executor of the will didn't have to deal with arguments about who gets what.
Not the asshole. By the same logic, you knew them for longer and deserve more money. That isn't how love works. Maybe she's still processing the deaths. Talk to her.
Not the asshole. Sorry for your loss. Your sister is being absolutely ridiculous.
Not the asshole, your sister's being a twit. Not the asshole. As long as you are applying the probate laws of your jurisdiction and all the terms of your parents' will, you act both legally and ethically. That said, do you know if your sister is in some kind of financial trouble? If so, it would be a good deed but not required by any stretch of the imagination, if you root inheritance to her or to her creditors to take care of the financial distress.
Not the asshole. My deepest sympathies for your loss. Your sister is a jerk, and greedy AF. That's just awful stress trying to cash in and gain from you and your brother. It was an equal divide, which is fair. They could have left it all to the canary, you know what I mean. In the politest way possible, tell her to jump. Not the asshole. You are honoring your parents' wishes, that alone makes you not the asshole. Either she is in so much pain from losing both parents in a short amount of time that she lost all perspective and feels like a victim, in which case you should advise her to seek help, or she is super selfish and entitled, and in that case you shouldn't have to bend over to keep her happy.
Not the asshole, but be kind to your sister in grief. I am close to your sister's age and am also a later-in-life surprise baby. The feeling of being cheated out of parents is very real for the adult children of older parents. You said they died in old age, which means her experience with them in her 20s was likely very different. She is grieving things like maybe her kids not having grandparents, all while not experiencing a tragic parent death. I can understand how and why this is confusing for her. Don't give her any money, but let her grieve, and when she comes off of it, don't hold it against her for the rest of your lives. Just let it go. Sounds like she is in the bargaining stage of grief.
Not the asshole. Your sister is just playing off your feelings for grief. If she pushes the issue, tell her to take you to court. She would lose, but it would show her how life works.
Not the asshole. Her reasoning for this is that as she is so much younger than my brother and I, she got to spend less time with my parents. The same reasoning can be applied why you should receive more inheritance. You made your parents happy much longer than your sister did, so she deserves less.
NTA. Sorry for your loss, but you don't have to compensate your sister for being born later. Fair is fair, it's split 3x exactly.
Not the asshole. You are following your parents' wills and are legally obligated to give her more. She is just being greedy at this point.
Not the asshole. You owe her nothing more than her fair share, financially. As her big sister, however, it would be compassionate of you to deal with her in as gentle a manner as possible. That does not mean giving her a token payment. That means giving her grace for her behavior, which may be a poor expression of her grief. Although it is satisfying to dream of coming back to her with reasons you actually deserve more, please don't do that. Just maintain your stance firmly without aggression. Be confident that you are following your parents' wishes. Anyone who questions you is not thinking rationally. My sincere condolences on the loss of your parents, and best wishes for a good relationship going forward with your sister.
Not the asshole. You've split everything fairly to hell with any token payment BS. I hate when people say just give it to her to keep the peace. They wouldn't do it if they were in the same position. Your sister is stupid. Inheriting brings out the worst in people. My grandma just died, so I'm dealing with the shitshow of her 8 kids fighting RN. Just ignore her and split everything equally, which is very fair. Not the asshole. This is nonsensical. You could counter-argue that you and he provided more emotional support for them in their old age, as you and your brother were older and better able to understand them as parents. See? You can make any excuse if you try. Stick to your refusal and redirect the disagreement. Let her know that she may be mourning and her grief is manifesting in panic greed, really, and you hope you all can work through your loss together.
Not the asshole. She is being incredibly greedy and ridiculous. Like she wants you and your brother to essentially pay her because you were older and had more time with your parents. Since you both moved out earlier than her, she had 7 more years at home with them than either of you. Should you be asking for compensation for that?
Info: Are you American? Not the asshole. Using emotional blackmail to get money out of an inheritance is definitely a new low. I'm sorry for your loss and for having to go through this.
Not the asshole, but this is common. Honestly, divorce and parents' inheritance stuff brings wild things out in people. My aunt, a literal millionaire, Had demanded she get a summer house just her and not give her siblings anything because, my mother always hugged you more. You can't make this stuff up, it's so wild. But yeah, very common, don't resent her, try to get over it as a family, but also don't give her any more than the allocated share, 1/3. Not the asshole sorry for your loss, but it sounds like your sister is being greedy and wanting more money, so I say stick the plan even if she gets mad about it.
Not the asshole, she is delusional.
Not the asshole. My condolences on your loss. You're all still grieving, I'm sure, and perhaps there's something related to her being the youngest by a lot, and I'm assuming she's rationalizing that you don't need the money because you're both older and possibly more financially secure established. But no, not the asshole for respecting your parents' wishes. And I wish you well. My own family experienced an extreme rift that has not yet mended over perceived expected inheritances following the death of a grandparent.
Not the asshole. Sorry for your loss. Things like this happen all the time and it seems families always fight over the inheritance. People should just do like my dad is doing and spend everyone's inheritance so no one will get anything and there won't be any fighting.
Not the asshole. Do not give her any extra money. If she thinks she's owed $1,000, giving her $10 will not allay her feeling of being owed. Not the asshole. My youngest brother is 5 years younger than me, making him 13 when our father died and 22 when our mother died. He received a larger portion of her life insurance because he was so young when Dad died and had to pay for more on his own, but not because he got to spend less time with her. However, she told my siblings and I that this was how the life insurance was going to be divided well before she passed away and explained her reasoning, which we felt was fair. Your parents specified how to split the proceeds, so not only is it selfish of her to argue against their wishes, but for her to think she can make up for the time lost with a higher payout really rubs me the wrong way.